Fishman Takeover of Gregory and Dillian Koch. Today I'm sporting this delicious Reverend Pete Anderson guitar with the Fishman Fluence classic humbuckers with the open core. Make sure that this is all working in here. When you have a open core. Is it back here, right? You can see this all right? All right. We got a restream chat. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just jamming. Is that wrong? Can you do it? Yes, this is the Pete Anderson. And I've got these delicious, damn-licious Fishman Fluence open core classic humbuckers. And you heard how damn good they sound from the neck to the bridge with a little bit of that greasy distortion on them. And go back on that volume control and it gets all nice and juicy. Spider, you want to know about these pickups, don't you? They are the classic humbuckers. And says there's only 3 controls on this guitar. Usually it's for 4 controls, so you got a volume for each pickup. And then you'd have a push-pull on each tone control. One to put the different voice in. There's 2 voices for these pickups, but these pickups also have a coil tap on them as well. So, like for instance, if I'm on the bridge pickup here. Okay, that's the full-on Seth Lover regular classic humbucker. What's nice about it is I turn the volume down, I don't lose any high. Right? And then if I hit this button right here and pop it up, I get a coil tap actually. So let's check that out. Hear the buzz right away? Coil taps. All right. So here's the. What I like about that, it's very P90ish. It's got that squawk. It's more one of the Care Bear chord. Sounds good. Now let's go back to the regular bridge humbucker. Here's the second voice. So the other tone control gives me the second voice of that pickup. It's a little bit more heat. I got a little bit more heat. Michael asks if I do my own installations. I do not. Actually, the people at Reverend put these pickups in. These pickups sound damn good. That's the middle position. Can you dig it? Oh, someone wants a little succulence. We could probably do that. That's a little tune of ours called Succulent, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, real way to play Midnight Rambler. Oh, man. You need a capo for that, but I do it without a capo. Talking about the Midnight Rambler. There's an open chord classics and the classic humbuckers then. That is correct, Spider. They're the same pickups, it's just an aesthetic difference. Originally, the difference was they had that third voice of the coil tap, but now the regular covered version of the classic humbuckers also has that third voice. Can you dig it? Can we let it bleed? You know, there's always a time for let it bleed. Is that wrong? Is it wrong? Drifting by Hendrix. That's a good one. Drifting. I don't really know that song, though. Of all the Hendrix tunes, I know it, of course, in my head, I know it. Usually that's enough to kind of go, but I've never really messed around with playing that song. Yeah, Mick gets the belt out for that one, right? Midnight Rambler. Talking about the mid. He was up to no good, is what he was up to. Oh, thank you. These Fishman takeovers are the greatest thing ever. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Will you dig it? You know that rock and roll is a powerful force. 3 chords. There was a 4th one in there. They do that C sharp in there, ladies and gentlemen. That adds for good, clean fun. It's good to kind of play those Keith Richards chords when you it's a D there. You bar the triad there. Hit the root down there with your pinky. And I'm actually muting the A string and I'm just doing that hammer. Right? A little bit of the Tiger to cap off the week. You are correct. A little bit of the Tiger. Woo! Is your Gristlemaster guitar ash or Carina bodied? It is Carina. Good question. It is a Carina body. Graham Ross says, I'm late, but I'm here. Welcome. Come. Happy Friday to you. What kind of picks do I use? Well, doggone it, I use these rascals. These are Jim Dunlap Primetone 3 1.4 millimeter picks. So this guitar is outfitted with these Fishman classic humbuckers. They sound magnificent. And what's so nice about them, they have 2 voices, and they also have a coil tap. I don't lose any highs when I turn the volume down, and they sound, both bridge and neck pickup just sound magnificence. You know what we haven't done in a while? Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. So, going straight into the my signature Koch amplifier called the Greg, and I'm in the lead channel with the gain boost on, and then the rest is just the pickups working their savage magic. Can you dig it? How are we doing on time? We're rolling right along with our jams. I like it. Okay, now just for the fun of it, what I always think is interesting is when I go from a guitar with humbuckers to, so the Fluence humbuckers, that is, to, let's say, my signature weapon here with the Gristletone pickups on it. And usually you'd have to EQ it every which way from Tuesday once you would switch to a guitar like this. But no, it just sounds great from the get-go. Right? Sounds good. Right from the so squishy and delishy. Dylan, it's squishy and delishy. And there's nothing wrong with any of those things. They're good for you and your soul and your twisted soul. A question from Arthur. Do you grow your nails longer in your right hand for your hybrid picking? My wife hates that when I do that. You know, I don't really grow them all that far out. As long as I have a little white showing above the cuticle, I got enough to do my business. Both with slide and other things. Regular hybrid picking. Right? My woman from Tokyo. We might do a little It's very far away. It takes about half a day to get there. If we travel by my dragonfly. Though it's not in Spain, all the same, you know it's a moving name. And the wind's just right. Really low, and they overflow cotton candy and battleground, red and brown. Though it's all in your mind, don't waste your time on the bad thing. Just float your little mind. Hang on, my darling. Hang on,
Can you dig it? Can you dig the power of Jim Hendrix in a duo format? Question about the Heat the Boogaloo intro lick. Was that inspired by the Allman Bros? I'm sure I've heard something. Yes, that's actually a lick that Dwayne Allman does on Stormy Monday. But he got that, I'm pretty sure, from Jesse Ed Davis, who does it on tune on that Taj Mahal record that Dwayne was inspired to play Statesboro Blues on. There's that thing where it's like. Right? Can you dig it? The first album, you are correct. Dig it, baby. It's amazing the Hendrix tunes from the late 60s still carry the power 50 years later, isn't it? It's crazy. Crazy business. Where was Jimmy going musically near the end of his run? Boy, I tell you what, he had some cool jams towards the end. He was working on some cool stuff. Of course, he probably would have had to make a personnel change. Mitch was losing it towards the end there. That last tour, holy caramba. Mitch was dropping beats like I drop gas when I'm not in public. What? That didn't make any sense. But I think you know what I'm talking about. What? Nash Vegas. Ooh. Don't do shrooms and ride a motorcycle. Probably not a good idea. Am I right? What are the questions we got out there lurking? Where's the input charging jack on the Pete Anderson located? That's a good question, Peter. We did a special install on these, so it's underneath the pick guard. It was a custom job they did for me. I guess there's only 4. I have my 335, this one, and I think 2 other guitars where it was done. But yes, dropping beats like a 2-foot putt. I like it. That'll work. I was trying to think of a good one. I just couldn't. For some reason, I just couldn't make it happen. Jimmy and Noel didn't get along either. Yes, I know there were issues. I know what are you going to do. Kids. They were so young at the time.
They were all having a good old time, I think. What is your favorite Telly player? Boy, you know, it's hard to say. I love Ruby Cannon, of course, Danny Gatton, Albert Lee when he played Telly, still when he plays anything. Albert Collins, you name it. I'm missing some that I should probably say that my brain is fading out on. What's the guitar trend that you most hated? Not that I hate. Past the outskirts of affinity, and she set me on what? An eagle's wing. Thank you very much. Do one again with the blue one, please. This is a blue one, isn't it? This is a blue one. How did I come up with the unrepentant riff? There was a when I do the videos out at Wildwood, I come up with a bunch of riffs on the spot, especially when we were doing them off site. Actually, for the longest time, we were doing it in Steve's basement. Now I can say that now because we don't have any of that stuff there anymore. He was worried that people knew where all that stuff was. It's not there anymore. But I would come up with little riffs, and I'd come back to the hotel, and I would put them down on GarageBand on my computer. And I did that I've got just a metric poop ton of riffs and songs lurking on there. And then I wrote a bunch with a guy, John Seeger, and the first batch of them were on a record called Plays Well With Others. And then there was a bunch of tunes that were on a record that John did called, what the hell was that record called? Easy, what was it called? I do not remember. Oh, Lord have mercy. I'm losing my mind. Anyway, so there was a bunch of tunes, and some he would write lyrics for, and sometimes I'd send him a demo, and he wouldn't come up with lyrics for it. But this was written around that time, and I came up with that lick. But to me, it was an instrumental from the get-go, so I don't think I ever sent it to him. And away we went. What string gauge do I use? I use 10 through 46. I love the show you did at the Sweetwater Music Hall. Oh, thank you, Alex, and thanks for coming out to that show. We had a good old time. You know, we were just getting in our stride of touring around, and then all of a sudden COVID hit, and needless to say, we haven't been out since. We had a pretty nice, juicy tour all booked for April into May as well. And now, well, we had a bunch of stuff booked. It's all gone. Now we're starting to rebook stuff a little bit. We had a nice tour in the fall in Europe, and that's not happening. So what are you going to do? If I wanted to do a purchase a group of items from your website, could we work out a package deal? Robert, I don't handle that stuff. That is all handled through a guy that does my website for me. So we do, there are some special deals on there, but everything's priced pretty equitably, I might say. Kid Charlemagne. You asked that yesterday, didn't you, Henry? I never did figure out that solo, I think. Actually, I figured out one lick from that solo. I can't remember what it is. Cool little flat 5 leg. All right. Anthony asks, how long have I been playing guitar? Well, I've been playing guitar for about 42 years, if we're honest. Can you dig it? Hopefully we'll see you in the UK with Josh Smith. Is that still in the cards? Well, it hasn't been officially canceled yet, but I can't imagine that it's still going to happen. I hope I'm wrong, but I know that the German part of the first part of the tour, it got canceled. So I can't imagine that the English thing is going to happen. We shall see. Spider likes the Rick Vito interview. Thank you very much. I have a bunch of, actually, you know what we're going to do with we just got official word. So I'm doing all these interviews. By the way, Ryan, I thought of a good name for the interview segment, the podcast. We'll call it Chewing the Gristle with Greg Koch, right? Am I right or am I right? So it's just a bunch of conversations I'm doing with guitar player buddies of mine, and I'm just kind of booking them as I think of, like, oh, I just talked to this guy on the phone. Hey, you want to do something? So we've done David Grissom so far. We've done Josh Smith. We've done Rick Vito. I did one with Steve Lukather the other day, which was fantastic. I did one with Roscoe Beck. That was fantastic. Next week we got, these are not done live. We do them via Zoom. And then we post them to Wildwood Guitars YouTube channel, but then Fishman's going to put them out as a podcast. So we're going to get that going soon. So we'll keep you apprised of that. Next week we got Jeff Pivar, we got Deke Dickerson, and we have the mighty Andy Timmons. So that's fun. So can you dig it? Oh, you're kidding me. Nice, Dwayne. Dwayne just said, hey, Greg, Dwayne Baker here, installing a set of Fluence humbuckers and a customer's Flying V as I watch you. Fantastic. That's what I like. That's what I like to hear. Got a friend of George Benson who would like to hear a blues signature. You know what? Maybe we'll do a little blues here, I reckon. It's great. Your son's drums are in tune. Yes, that's always important. Graham says, Tour of Scotland should be called There's a Thistle in My Gristle. I like that kind of talk. That's dirty talk. Do I still have a B-bender guitar? I don't know if I mentioned this on this particular... I think I have talked about this. B-benders, I got one years ago. I had a couple different B-bender guitars. I still have the very first one that I used. Well, actually, I take that back. The very first one I bought, I sold to my buddy. And then I got another one that's the one I still have now. But B-benders mess with my back. For whatever reason, it's just the right amount of weight in the wrong place when you have to mechanize. You know, it's for those of you who don't know what B-benders do, they're attached to the strap lock up here. And when you go down, there's a little mechanism that grabs the B string, and there's I like to say, elaborate series of trusses a la Fred Garvin. And when you go down this, it pulls the B string up a whole step. But you got to go like this. So it's the right amount of weight in the wrong place, and it messes with my back. So, do you feel better since you lost weight? Yes, although I'm not. I've gained a little back. I'm still about 20 pounds lighter than I was at full girth. But I do walk quite a bit. I probably walk about 6 miles a day to mitigate the pummeling. Although during this, I think like everybody else during this COVID situation, there's been some stress eating going on. Can you dig it?
I've gained a nice 20.
He's been Dylan's gained a quick 20, but he's 25, so all he has to do is like walk across the street and he'll lose it. But so that's something to look forward to. That walk across the street, Dylan. How are we doing on time? Well, we got about 10 minutes left. We have a request for hey Greg, I did a country rap tune with the Hey Godzilla riff with a friend. Would you like to hear it? A country rap tune?
No.
With all due respect, I think I'll hold off, although I'm sure it's great. How many years did you use a B-bender? I've been playing 40 years, and I can feel the left and right hand get the funky lockups once in a while. I used a B-bender for quite some time, but man, it just it wreaks havoc with my damn back. Someone want a jazzy tone? Yeah, you can definitely, especially if I'm on the second voice of these pickups. So if I go The second voice, I'll hit this button right here, and it gets the second voice. It's got a little bit more meat in it. If I turn it down, go back on the tone a little bit, and you got a little bit more of a. Sounds good. Gets that nice, warm, juicy tone. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Let's do like that. Just like that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Woo! All right, thank you very much back there, Dylan James. Dylan playing those drums back there for the last 5 minutes of that tune is called Sweet Tea, ladies and gentlemen. Sweet Tea. That is off the Defenestrator record. And, yeah, we also do a version of that with the Koch Marshall Trio. That's pretty vicious. Not on any record as of yet, but certainly it's on the YouTube. When people come out to our gigs and they film us and they put it up on the YouTube, you can see it on there. A lot of times what we do is we go from the end of Unrepented. It ends on this. Ends on that F, and then I'll go to start off the Sweet Tea song. My tone pot or my volume pot is a little dirty. I need to get a new one, or I need to just clean it out. It goes, but that happens. The airline bashed this guitar, and I'm afraid that it's. Although I love this color is called Blucifer, which I think is funny as hell. And anyway, so this is one of my favorite ones to play, but the volume knob is. I need to have it sprayed out, or maybe get a new control panel. But what can you do? Questions out there, ladies and gentlemen. Questions. It's time today. I didn't play the acoustic today at all, ladies and gentlemen. But any questions on any activity? Oh, my wife is coming home with Isla. They've got their masks on. They've gone to the grocery store. Looks like they got some more toilet paper. We're stocking up. Every time we go, we just get one package, just because you never know when craziness will happen again and people will be hoarding the butt wipe. We don't want that. Am I right or am I right? When does the touring start? That's a good question, Bruce. It seems to be a thing of mystery. I did book a gig in August. The Dallas Guitar Show, I think, is going to happen because in Texas, they're like, whatever. So it's puts everybody in quite a conundrums. Don't know exactly what the haps is. But we are ready to go out and start rocking people's brains, provided that it does not cause increased pestilential illnesses and ramifications, which no one really quite knows at this point in time. People think they know, but people, give them an opportunity to disappoint, they're going to come through every time. Am I right or am I right? Doggone it. Present company excluded, of course. What else do you do on an off day music-wise? Do I have any off days? Is that what you're asking? I play music every day. There is an odd day where I'll be doing something like child-oriented, like moving a kid someplace. We moved my daughter out to Vermont. I don't think I brought a guitar. I might have brought it. I think I did bring a guitar. See, I really can't go more than I get irritable if I don't have a guitar. Sometimes I just sit down and I just pick up the guitar and I go, oh my God, that's right. How glorious. Because without the guitar, I'd probably be an angry person. Can you imagine it? I'm waiting for the live in Japan. We're waiting to come to Japan, my friend. We're ready to come. We're ready to come to Japan. Jimmy Page used to be Bender on some Zepp tunes. Indeed, I know it. I think he had back surgery in the 80s. Probably the double neck and B-bender caused it. Could be, because they are problematic. Do I play harmonica? You know, early on, Barry, I did play some harmonica. Not very well, but I knew a couple licks and stuff on blues harp and would play a little distorted harmonica here, there, in the next place. Yes. Is the vibrato on the Greg before or after the preamp? Do you know, like plugging in a vibe in front of an old amp? It's wherever tremolos usually are. But you can place it either before or after the reverb. You do have your options in that regard. Yeah, it's amazing that we've never gone to Japan to play. I just think that's bizarre. Last time I was in Japan, we played at a trade show outside of Tokyo. And it was great. And a bunch of people came out, and I was doing stuff for Fishman. I did a couple things. I was also there kind of for Martin, so I did more acoustic stuff, but I did some electric stuff too. Let's go to Japan and eat. I'm all for eating in Japan. We love the Japanese food.
Let's go.
I'm down with the Zen activity as well, if we're honest. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to go to Japan. Is a Telly style and Les Paul guitar all I need? Chris, that is a loaded question, my friend. I find it's fun to have a Strat type guitar in the arsenal, some kind of a hollow body. There's all kinds of different guitars that lurk. Something that's a little Gretschy. That's why I love hanging with the Reverend folks, because all their guitars are kind of the greatest hits of all the cool stuff, plus ergonomically tweaked for the modern manipulator. And you don't have to harvest an organ to purchase them. You know what I'm saying? That's important. I like to keep my organs if I possibly can, ladies and gentlemen. Do you have locking tuners on your Strat? That not on the white Strat. On my custom shop Strat, yes, but on the white Strat that you see me with on these broadcasts. I'm going to call them broadcasts. Streams seems so much less magical. Who is your preferred Zappa musician? You know, I enjoyed the George Duke era Zappa band the best. I felt it was the greasiest, if I may be so bold. And I do love the grease. Other musicians were all, I liked all the eras. But there was something with Napoleon Murphy Brock and was it Tom Fowler on bass, and then Chester Thompson on drums, and Ralph Humphreys, and then Ruth. Boy, that was a band. Holy caramba. And some of my favorite tunes came out of that era. Can you dig it? Is there any lacquer on the guitar's fingerboard? I think maple shouldn't be sticky. Nick, on my guitar, it's a very, very thin coat of there's just a very little. It's a roasted maple neck, but there's barely anything on there. It's very pleasurable to play. Any thoughts on Trey and Anastasio? You know, I've heard some cool stuff from those guys. You know, I don't know what it was. I've just never been a huge Dead guy. Although I'm a Jerry Garcia fan per se, but I've never been a huge Dead enthusiast, and that kind of washed over to the Fish frontier. Although again, I have to say I've heard some tunes where like, well, that's cool, but for whatever reason, it just is not in my digestion area. My wife has a Reverend Barry, loves it so much, and it's really nicely made and a great sounding axe. It is indeed, Joe. I'm trying to get my wife to throw down some Savage Licks. She just won't have it. Like, honey, you need to start playing bass or something so we can rock out. We get older, you quit your job, and we'll just go out and about and rock. Power trio. She's like, well, I ain't having it. She's not with it. Be that as it may. Favorite track Steve Lukather played on? You know, I was talking with Steve the other day, and I liked that tune Pamela quite a bit. Of course, his solo on Rosanna is fantastic. He actually played on a Chet Atkins record called Stay Tuned, and he said in a couple tunes, and there was a couple licks he did on there that I just out stole. I told him that too. He's like, no way. I'm like, way, dude. You kidding me? He's so funny. He's like, well, I'm like, dude, you've played on how much? You're a legend beyond legend. You've played on just amazing part after amazing solo after a written hit song. It's like, what? It's so crazy, but he's a hell of a dude. Bruce Infante says, no, it's called the Debonair Music Hall. I don't know what that's referred to, but I do know that Lindy Infante was the coach of the Green Bay Packers for a point in time in a less than colorful era of the Green Bay Packers history, when we were all deprived of any kind of glory whatsoever until the arrival of Brett Favre and but I'm not over I'm kind of over sports in general at this particular point in time. Do I know Tom Bakovic? I do not, but I have seen some of his stuff, and he's amazing. Great player, very creative, great touch, cool tone. What's not to love? Bless him. All Cock and Ballsy Trio. Mark, really? You're going to have to up your game a little bit if you're going to have fun with my last name, because I've heard it all, okay? And I'm the ultimate mauler of names, so I can give it a little better than I usually receive. So there you go. Thoughts on Al Anderson? Fantastic. I've enjoyed the NRBQ stuff over the years, and I have a couple of his solo records as well, as a matter of fact. Very cool stuff. Can you dig it? Can and will you dig it? How are we doing? We got a little time. I've been going over a little more. Mexicali turned into Debonair Music Hall in Teaneck, New Jersey. Oh, okay. We'd like to get out and about that neck of the woods. We need to do an East Coast tour. We have yet to play in New York City. I've done clinics in New York. The band has never played Note 1 in New York, which is kind of indicative of all you need to know about the music industry. Well, never mind. When is the trio thing happening? Well, you know what? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to bring Toby down here to do a live feed. I'm going to have fiber optic next week. You know how long I've been talking about fiber optic? Those of you who have been watching these broadcasts throughout quarantine have noticed that I've been talking about the possibility of getting fiber optic service at my house for about 2.5 months, maybe 3 months. That's how long it's taken AT&T to tell their internal structure that we have, the stuff is out there. It's been sitting there, available, but for some reason they had to put it in their system that we could actually get it. Our address wasn't on their list of availability. So it took about 2.5, 3 months in order to get that happening. But by next Tuesday, we are going to have fiber optic. So we're going to be able to play with the band, and the fidelity and the quality of the video will be sublime. I'm going to just say it's going to be sublime. I know it's a tall order, but there you have it. Best acoustic pickups. Yes, Fishman does make the best acoustic. Or are you asking what's the best acoustic pickup? On my Martin here, what the hell's going on? I have a Fishman Matrix Infinity pickup. Right? That was just the volume's not even all the way up. I'm actually going into a Spectrum Aura preamp as well. Have I ever jammed with Paul Gilbert? No, I have not. As a matter of fact, I've never even met Paul Gilbert. For just whatever reason. We've just never had mutual acquaintances, but he's obviously fantastic. 2 months to get fiber optic? Yeah. Well, you'd think that they would understand. How did you hook up with Charlie Hunter for the live jam? Actually, that wasn't live. We did that via a program called Acapella. So he sent us a 60-second jam, a video, and then we loaded it in acapella, and then I did my part, and then Dylan did his part, and that was that. Thank you, Bruce. I appreciate that. Any last questions out there in Streamland? Like that, Sarah, I said Streamland. I didn't say Movie Land. She says nice. That's my lovely wife. Chris Silver, yeah, John Capoli, yes, Cipollina? You mean, what's his name? I know what you mean. I haven't really listened to much of them back in the day. Again, how's Wisconsin? Well, it's a beautiful day today. It's a little chilly. The sun is shining, however. So we had that little brief encounter with the remnants of Cristobal, who came through here. The tropical depression came through. It was a little windy, little rain, some thunderstorms, and then it vacated. And now it's a little chilly today. Not horrible. I still walked in my shorts with my t-shirt on. Make sure AT&T doesn't put caps on your service. Oh, Corey, I don't know what's going. They said it's. That shouldn't be a situation. They went on and on about the quality and this, that, the next thing. Not a question, but really appreciate how you bring joy to everyone during these times. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Henry wants to know about the COVID binge watching recommendations. Well, we've gone through, what have we all watched? We've watched, Isla, what have we all watched? We've watched Killing Eve, except for the most current season, because we don't have BBC. We watched a little bit of the Dead to Me. We've watched Mrs. America. Which one? Ozark. We watched Ozark. I'm binge watching the Borgias. I never watched the Borgias. It's kind of like a papal Game of Thrones, if we're right. No one else in the family enjoys it, so when I start watching it, they all head to the hills. But I get a kick out of Jeremy Irons. So anyway, I'm trying to get through that. Being raised Catholic, it's interesting to see the interesting take of the Machiavellian world of Pope Alexander VI. Okay. Space Force. We started to watch that a little bit. Watch Yellowstone. Okay, I got to check that out. American. Tiger King, of course we watched that. Absolutely. That was deeply troubling. We watched that kind of earlier on in the COVID situation. You need to learn some of Joe Exotic's songs. They're beautiful. You're right. You know, Carol Baskin, I'll tell you what, she's quite a character. Quite a character indeed. It was 94 in Florida today. Lord have mercy. All right, folks, well, I think I'm going to check out. Will you play with Roscoe Beck again? Yeah, I think at some point we will. He was funny at the end of our interview the other day. He's like, I know you've got that fine Toby who plays an excellent bass with his left hand, but should you ever need a four-string player again, I'm your man. Roscoe is fantastic, needless to say. And we looked forward to seeing him when we were going to go down in Austin. We were supposed to be there at the end of April. We always stay over at his house and hang out, and obviously it didn't happen because of COVID-19. Doggone you. But thanks for tuning in, folks. I smell something delicious being prepared in the other room. I think it's taco night. I think we're doing chicken tacos. It's going to be delicious. And that's all. Have I ever played with Steve Vai? Yes, I have. Of course, I was on his label for a time. Sat in with him once when he came into town. We played a version of My Guitar Wants to Kill Your Mama. And Eric Sardinas was on that tour, so at the end, the three of us engaged in vigorous schweedling. There you have it. Well, listen, folks, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be back for Fishman next Monday, 4 p.m. Central Time, and Friday, also 4 p.m. Central Time. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do the Wildwood Takeover, and that's at 3 p.m. Central Time. And look forward to the podcast. We'll be informing you of where you can access that once we upload that. And in the meantime, you can see the video version on the Wildwood channel. I think we're just calling that Wildwood at Home, those interviews. So, Joe Exotic makes you seem like an ordinary, basic, sensible human being. Well, thanks, Joe Exotic. Oh, bless you. All right, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate it. Have a safe weekend, and we'll see you cats later.